What is up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of GYTO's The Flip Side podcast, where this season is all about Ask, Get Your Teach On Anything, but it's not just about Get Your Teach On. We have so many special guests to get you, or for you to hear from this season, and so we are back with another episode from the one and only Amy Lemons. Hey. She's back, and I knew you were the perfect person for this episode because one of the questions, we're just going to dive right into this one. Okay. We're not even going to do a warm-up or anything or an icebreaker because I know that a lot of people have had this question. Again, we're not sharing people's identity because we're not trying to get teachers fired, and some of these questions are a little spicy. But one of the biggest questions that I have seen on repeat as we've opened up different forums and places for people to ask questions is, how do teachers get a hustle outside of the classroom? Which is a very valid question and something that I wanted to talk about on the flip side, because I'm like, I get it. Like, I get why teachers have to, unfortunately, and while if there were anything I could do to change this, I would change teachers' pay.
Absolutely.
Without a doubt. I think we can all agree on that. So I fully understand the desire to have, something beyond just the classroom and how we can still keep it, focus on education, because why would you want to do something completely outside of that? Yeah. But before we dive into that little spicy topic, in case they didn't catch your first episode with us, tell them who you are and who your if you're watching on YouTube, if not, you're missing out.
You're missing out.
Because we have another special guest.
Yes. Okay, so my name is Amy Lemons. I was a first grade, second grade, fourth grade teacher while I was teaching second grade. Since we're talking about this specific subject, I started a teaching blog, Step Into Second Grade, where I just shared what was going on in my classroom, ideas. Also, I have my dog,
Boomy girl. Look at that face. Oh my gosh.
Y'all have to check this out on YouTube.
It is so cute.
She's a star.
She really is. Actually, this whole podcast can be 20 minutes of just the camera on Boomy. That'll be really good.
So while I was teaching second grade, which is when we met each other online, I had this teaching blog. And then shortly after having it for a while, I started creating and selling teaching resources, which is what I still do today. So yeah, that's what I do.
So let's kind of talk about this. Let's rewind, because honestly, I don't really know that anybody has the exact answer on how to start a hustle outside, because here's what I want to question the people that are asking this question, or if you're listening and you're like, oh my gosh, okay, I actually want to listen to this episode because I would like to know. I think my biggest question to you, if you want to start a hustle outside of teaching, is what is the method behind your madness? Like, why? Because I've noticed so many people who get frustrated because they start that hustle and they don't instantly make a lot of money, or they don't instantly get a lot of followers, or they don't instantly. And it was the furthest thing from instant for us.
Yes.
And so while, really what we're going to share more of is our stories of how we got there. And again, if I had a specific tip to help teachers make a hustle, I would give that to you1instantly. But I think really hearing from others and understanding what goes into that hustle, because it is a major hustle. So let's back up and just kind of tell, how did we even get into that hustle beyond the classroom?
Yeah. So I think it starts with whenever I was student teaching, and I'm sure you were the same way. I loved creating lessons. I remember I was a student teacher and I was making my own gallon guy. Those are really popular. We have them in Magic of Math. And I was fascinated with making it on the computer, moving the shapes around and changing the fonts. And I was introduced to DJ Inker's fonts, which changed my life literally.
Shout out DJ Inker's back circa 2012, 13, something like that.
No, before that.
Well,
this was 2006.
Wow.
Yeah, this was a long time ago.
Okay. We are old.
Yeah, so old. So I was doing that already. I was already creating even from the get-go. And I was student teaching in a place where they had scripted curriculum.
Yeah.
And so still flexing that creative muscle with that. And so I think it naturally grew because I was constantly making things for my students, maybe not to the extent of creating a product to sell, but always making things. So whenever I got to second grade, because when I taught first grade, I was on a team that was very collaborative and we would share and we would plan. And I got moved I wanted to move schools and to second grade, change of pace, change of grade level. but the team didn't plan together at all. And I was new to teaching second grade. I was teaching second grade dual language, which was like a whole program in and of itself. And I felt like I was on an island. And so I just had to create everything from scratch. My Spanish counterpart would use the textbook because there just wasn't a lot of resources in Spanish. And so if I taught it too, which I wouldn't have probably, they would have been getting the same thing from me and her, and just in different languages. And that would have been terrible for the students. And so I started creating things a lot when I started teaching second grade. And so that's how that creative part of like the creating of the lesson plans, if you get to like the blogging, which that is so different now. Like our start is so different than someone who's starting
different
now.
Because, and I think that's the part that, you know, teachers have always had to hustle. Let's be honest. Teachers sometimes work 3 and 4 jobs, 5 even. But for us, when we started, there was no like really teacher influencers. No. There was no such thing as Instagram. There was no such thing. You know, blogs were the way. They were but very few. I would say when I started, there were probably max 15, 20 blogs. I mean, and that's being, you know, quite generous there. So there was no, I want to be a teacher influencer.
No.
That was not even, and I think that's where some people get hung up these days is, I just want to be an influencer because they see this shiny stuff on Instagram. And I'm like, that is the furthest thing from what a side hustle actually is. So for us, I'm actually really glad because I can see where you could get caught up in that energy and want that. But for us, we didn't even have that to look to. So it was truly
at all.
For us, it was, and I think that's part of our success that other people don't find. So this is where some of that answer comes in. We were truly doing it because this is what we were already doing in our classrooms that we were so passionate about that almost it was for us documenting these things in our own. It wasn't even so much to get it out there for other people.
No, or to make money.
Or to make.
That I had never. Even
We'll get into how long Amy had free resources, and I kept saying, "Hello." We'll get into that in a second.
I had no idea.
The thought wasn't even that.
No,
it had nothing to do with that.
So there were a couple of websites that I would visit before blogs were a thing. Christina Bainbridge had one, and Beth Newingham. They were like my go-to. Because they would share pictures of their classroom. I was so thirsty for that. Like I just ate it up. I would check it constantly. I loved seeing ideas from other teachers. Like,
absolutely.
It literally brought me so much joy to see that other teachers were doing similar things or even different things. Like that there were other teachers out there that were creating and sharing. I was so thirsty for that. Because that's what I was doing in the classroom. And then like when I got to see you and Kara and Abby and so many others that were showing pictures of their classroom.
It was a collab. It was like having your own team that wasn't in your school, but that you could brainstorm and get ideas from.
And it was a constant feeding off of each other. Like I remember you did this thing with your students. I can't remember it exactly, but their journals, the front of their journals, they would cut out from magazines and Mod Podge. So that they had things to write about. And I remember seeing.
Oh my gosh, wait, I forgot about that. That was so good.
It was such a good idea.
That was good.
Especially now that composition notebooks.
Let me kiss my brain. That was
that was so good. And I did it too with my students, and I remember sharing it. It was just like I was learning from you. You were learning from me, but also whenever I learned from you, I gave you that credit. Like I would link back to you and I would shout it out. Like it was just this collaborative
It
community.
really was. It was so cool.
It was so special.
And then we got to, you know, obviously have different blogger meetups. And again, the mindset was bettering ourselves as teachers. And that has always been the heart. Like, you know me, I know you. Our heart has always been to better ourselves as educators, like bottom line. And so then, you know, I started a blog, you started a blog, and really that's when TPT, I didn't even know about Teachers Pay Teachers. The first blog that I saw was Anna Brantley, shout out Anna Brantley. And I saw her centers that she was doing in that moment. And I was like, oh my gosh, I need those. Like, that's amazing. And then it led me to Teachers Pay Teachers. And I was like, oh, I will happily pay. 99 cents, $1.50, you know, because inflation's happened since then. But for that resource so that I don't have to make, I was like, this is incredible. I was so excited.
Or I have this for addition with regrouping, but I don't have the centers. And so I created this, you created centers. Now I put that together and I have my day. You know, my day's done.
And so for me, I was like, okay, well, I am not just saying, okay, I need a side hustle, so I'm going to make some TPT
No.
products. Like that was never the mentality. It was always, I am already doing this
Yes.
stuff and already have so much stuff batched because to your point, I didn't have a lot of strong curriculums. I am a creative mind. I love doing
Yes.
things outside of the box. I always have. So I'm like, the same reason that Get Your Teach On exists, if it's not out there, I'm going to
Right.
create it. And so that's what I started doing. And I was like, oh my gosh, like, well, if there's a place for me to share this for other teachers, that is amazing. And so that's when I really started doing TPT. Now I started selling my products because I was a newlywed,
Yeah.
and Wade and I had just moved. By this point, you had already been married for 100 years. So you were established and settled. But Wade and I were newlyweds. We had just moved into our home. I literally had a futon as my couch. I had my college TV stand where our television was. I had zero furniture in any of the rooms in our home except for our bedroom. Wade was a teacher. I was a teacher. And so I was like, okay, well, you know what? If I can even just make my $25 a month to help with groceries
Right.
or help with, so that was my mindset
But
of,
let's
okay,
be real. Whatever money you made, you put right back in that classroom.
put right back into the class. So it wasn't even beneficial for my growth, because that is so true. That is so true. But I was like, even if I can just make $25. Now, you, however, you did TPT, but everything, or through your blog even, was free.
Yeah. So I do think that helped me cultivate a community, because now I wasn't sharing like full resources. They were like one pager type of things here and there, but I was just like, I was making it for my classroom. I was putting it up for free on my blog.
I would take so much of her stuff. I was like, this is gold.
Yeah. And I didn't start selling until I went to Carol used to host these luncheons.
Yep.
And it could be like TPTers or bloggers or just teachers. They were like teacher luncheons.
Yep.
And I went with a girl from my school, and she was kind of talking about it, and it really like piqued my interest.
Mm-hmm.
I was already like starting to become friends with other bloggers, but it wasn't like a community of TPT sellers at that point. It was a community of teacher bloggers.
Yeah.
And just through people being like, why are you not selling this? Why? I was just doing it to share.
Yep.
Like teachers would be like, oh, because they wanted it too. They had nothing. And I would get these comments.
Or they didn't have somebody to collaborate with to make it happen.
Well, you have it in this. Can you make this? And I was like, sure, absolutely. And I was just like making things for people constantly, you know? And I think at one point some people would give me some money through PayPal because they felt like bad.
Oh, that was so nice.
Yes, they were so nice. I mean, it was
I never gave her a dime.
but no. Or whenever I would make something specific that they asked for. And so that's kind of how it started. It never started for me as a way to make money. Yeah. It was like, I'm already doing this. This is a new, fresh way to do it.
And to be clear, like, and you can ask Wade, and too bad he's not sitting here on this podcast, but that was not done at school. I would literally sit in my living room. It would be, now this was after a full day of work.
Yeah.
Wade and I both coached sports because, again, we were both teachers. So not only were we teaching in the classroom full time, we were also, he was coaching wrestling. I was coaching cross country and track with my parents. And so we would have a full day of school. We would go directly to practice. We would get home about 6:30 at night, we'd eat dinner at my parents' house because, again, we had nothing, right? My parents would feed us. We would go to our house. And as soon as we would get into the house, shower, I was immediately on that computer. Come 11 or 12 o'clock at night, Wade was going, Hope, I got to go to bed. He would go to bed. I would stay there till 2 a.m., wake up at 5:30, start the whole day. So that's what I mean when I say the sacrifice of the hustle is extreme. Yeah. Because honestly, those hours have like never ended. I mean, we're still the same situation, but it was never I'm already doing this at school.
No.
This was me. But the cool thing that was motivating was, okay, now I'm using this time, and whereas, I could be like, oh my gosh, I'm spending so much time working for school. Now it wasn't just me working for my own kids. It was working to help other classrooms. And so that gave me like a whole different, form of motivation to really want to continue that grind, because it was exhausting. Yeah.
I remember, especially with Jared, because I mean, we didn't have a lot either. He's a pastor. I was a teacher, and he would be, in the summers, especially like you probably had Wade home in the summers. Yeah. I didn't. Jared had to continue.
I mean, Wade worked restaurant jobs.
Oh yeah, that's right. But I would just work. I worked nonstop. I worked on the weekends. I worked through the summer. I worked in the evenings. But it honestly brought me so much joy that I didn't even consider it a hustle or anything.
Me either.
Because I loved it so much.
Yep. And it wasn't okay, how many followers do I have now? Okay, how many it never, first of all, Instagram didn't even come into existence until
much later.
Much later.
And it wasn't any video work at all.
And yes, there were blog followers, and yes, there were TPT followers, but it was never about that.
Numbers.
For any of the people that were in our collaborative groups who were doing the same thing, it was just this is so cool.
So much fun.
Like, it's so fun. Not only am I making friends, not only am I learning from incredible teachers, not only am I getting these amazing resources, but I'm also able to help them. Like, the joy of it was never about numbers. And I feel like that is where a lot of people lose sight of that side hustle is, okay, I'm going to start an Instagram. And if I'm not at if they're not at 1,000 followers after a week, they're already discouraged.
Yeah.
And I'm like, then you're never going to be successful.
Right.
Like, you are never going to be successful, because if numbers are your metrics for success,
because nothing's like a roller coaster.
No,
like numbers.
It doesn't
matter how successful you are. Your numbers are
It's
constantly
true.
going up and down.
It's true.
Especially with school stuff.
Anything in education, depending on when the system changes, depending on, what is vetted, what is not vetted, what the current curriculums are, how things are ever changing. So if you're ever looking for consistency, education is not your field.
It's not it.
So then after, TPT really happened, that's when, again, I just it was honestly years of consistently sharing, consistently showing up even on the days that nobody was probably reading the blog, showing up and posting things, even if nobody was commenting or saying, wow, this is so cool. It was literally a consistent hustle, a consistent grind, and consistently showing up. Yeah. But the cool thing was I was already doing that anyways. Right. So this was just a bonus. And so then, obviously things did start to grow. TPT started to become a bigger, now it's incredibly oversaturated. Right. So that's like a whole nother conversation. It's never going to be what it was. Right. Timing is a big part.
A big part of it.
Just like the people on TikTok. Timing was a huge thing for why they became so successful, along with great content. But, TPT was not oversaturated. So we just happened to get in there.
At the best time possible.
At the best time possible.
Yeah.
And so, but still it was a matter of even after TPT was a thing, you still kept doing free resources for a very long time. Yeah. I mean, and then finally we talked some sense into you, like, hello, teachers deserve to be compensated. So, and it wasn't anything most of your prices at that point
were really low.
Really.
Well, also I stopped. So when I went from just like one pagers to putting more cohesive things, a lot more into it. I mean, at that point you would do yourself a disservice if you were not charging for it, because it's costing you time. It's costing you materials, but buying fonts, buying clip art, buying the programs that you need, especially now there's so many things
so many
can
things.
get.
I'm like, what if Canva were a thing back in the I made my first product in Word.
Yeah.
Word.
See, I didn't do that. I was always in PowerPoint.
Oh,
I still use PowerPoint.
I have never said more curse words in my lifetime than making
That's so bad.
Those centers
when you
in
insert
Word.
an image, it just the whole thing.
Oh boy,
goes to shambles.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know. I was talking to Katie King, who I also work with content, and I sent her a picture and I was like, if you ever feel down, remember that you used to write passages before AI was a thing.
It's so true.
You wrote lesson plans before AI could do it for you.
Oh my gosh. Which that has been, that is a game changer in so many ways.
Yeah.
So then, our journey now, once we kind of got into TPT, started to look a little bit different from you and from me. And, then Wade and I decided to, write a book together. This was after Instagram. And again, we just happened to get into Instagram at a very prime time, literally at the start of the app, and teachers were looking for other teachers to follow. And so, through that, we were able to build a following. Then we decided to write a book and to document all of our teaching practices that we had seen results with. Again, from Title I, public school, we were getting the results. That's what our book is about. And then, from there, that's when we would have these meetups in different places, and one of them happened to be in Vegas. And a colleague and myself were sitting there, and we were like, same thing that we were talking about with the resources. If it doesn't exist, let's create it. Yeah. And that's how Get Your Teach On came to be, because there weren't conferences out there that we felt motivated and inspired by. And so honestly, but look at that. That was 6 years, five years into, at least 4, I don't know the exact, I'm bad with numbers, but several years into the blogging, into the TPT, the book.
Yeah, I think too, even when you think about y'all's book, Like when I think about books that I was reading as a teacher then, they weren't written by teachers.
No.
You know, they may be professors or people in the education space, but you weren't reading books that were written by teachers.
Yeah.
And so that like fills a void that teachers want to hear from teachers, you know?
Yeah.
And it's just making something that wasn't there. It's filling a gap that so badly needed, especially with Get Your Teach On, because like I was invited to do those other conferences that were around at that time too. And it's nothing like what you would see at Get Your Teach On, you know?
And that's okay. Those conferences are for certain people.
Yeah.
Get Your Teach On is not, and nor will it ever be for everyone. Your resources will never be for everyone.
Right.
Like, and that's the beauty of having so many different things out there, is that you get to choose what works for you. Cause at the end of the day, it's what works.
Yeah.
And so, you know, you kept doing TPT and started to create even, you know, supplemental units, because again, what was the problem? There weren't good curriculums out there. So creating those units. But honestly, when I look back over our journey, the thing that is true of us, and that so many people, or so many people that have been successful, that is different. I'm sorry. It's different than what I see today, is we would take any opportunity.
Yeah.
I am talking no opportunity too small.
Yeah.
I did not care if I got paid for that opportunity.
Yeah.
I was like, it is an opportunity to get my name out there, to get my resources out there, to get like my ideas out there. But again, truly, the heart of it was I wanted to better classrooms. And that is still my heart today, regardless of what people want to say and infer because they see a couple squares on Instagram. My heart has always been to better classrooms. And I think that's why you and I and so many others in our city have found the success that we found, is because the intention was not to make money. It was to help other classrooms. And when I say we would take any opportunity, what baffles me today is when people are offered opportunity. Well, how much money am I getting paid?
Right.
Well, if I'm not getting paid $5,000, I'm not doing it.
Yeah.
Okay, well then don't be mad that your side hustle isn't working, because I would literally be like going to conferences, speaking for nothing, prepping
actually nothing.
Actually, had
you
to
would
pay my
way.
own travel, pay my own hotel.
Yeah.
You two, and of course, I was like, I'm going to create the kind of PD that I think should be out there.
Yeah.
I would prep for 2 months ahead of time. Materials, resources. I would travel to those locations with 4 and 5 suitcases, carrying them in the hotel by myself. Like, I would take if an opportunity could get me in front of one more person, I took it. Presenting in front of 10 people.
Presenting in front of a room of teachers who did not want to be there.
And will walk out of your sessions. Like, I mean, you remember these days and how it worked. And so it's just so interesting to me that people want to go from 0 to 100 of success overnight.
Yeah.
When I'm like, if that is what you guys have concluded from seeing some social media, that's bonkers to me.
I think too is there are opportunities to start at your school.
Yes,
you know, in your PD.
Absolutely.
Like I presented stuff for my school very early on whenever I had the opportunity. And
it scared me to death.
Yes.
Presenting in front of your peers is hard.
It was so hard. Yes. To go to other schools to do the same. You know, like there are opportunities out there to build your craft and to really refine it.
But at the end of the day, I think if, you know, whatever you feel like your passion is, you want to pursue speaking to educators, you want to pursue writing a book, you want to pursue making TPT resources, you want to pursue doing a website, go for it.
Yeah.
Like go for it. But also don't underestimate the people that you're looking at as like your success markers. Like I want to be like them.
Right.
Don't underestimate the work that they have done for literally years. Because that's the thing about speaking is here, and we have seen, and I am just shooting this straight because you want to know how to be successful. I'm just being honest with you about what I've noticed and what I've seen is so many people want to be speakers, but there is a vast difference in someone being a phenomenal teacher and getting insane results in their classroom. I have seen those people fall flat as speakers and vice versa. I have seen teachers who are awful, who do not get any results in the class. Seen it firsthand. They're not a good teacher.
Yeah.
Now, their intentions there, they love the kids, but they don't get good results. They can pull off a phenomenal presentation.
Yeah.
Not everybody's made to be a speaker.
No.
No matter how much I want to be a singer, I have to also recognize that is never going to happen for me, right? Now, I do think that everybody has a story, and you should always share your stories and your ideas. But I think being a speaker is really something that has to be crafted over years and years and years and years and years of experience.
Yeah.
Because teaching the teachers, teaching adults is so much more difficult than it is teaching kids. And that takes practice. You have to, so that's what you're talking about. Look for opportunities in your school.
Yeah.
Look for opportunities to present to your grade level. If your district has opportunities, if other conferences that you're like, okay, really, I don't want to attend this conference, but I have an opportunity to present, go there and do that. It is, now I am 17 years in and I still have so much to learn.
Yeah.
Like so much to learn.
Yeah. Yeah. I think too, it's just, where do you find the joy in teaching? Like, what is it that people come to you for?
Yes.
So are they coming to you because you can create a cute flyer for the school, or you have math ideas?
Yep.
What is it that people are constantly asking you about because they know that's what you're known for?
Yep.
You know, and take that and start with that, because that's what people are coming to you looking for anyway. So how can you maximize that potential instead of trying to put all your eggs in all these other baskets?
What are you great at?
Yes.
Because also don't start with something that doesn't get results, because then people don't want any part of it, right? So what are you phenomenal at in your work as a teacher? Because we all have our own niche. Like we all have different things that we're great at. Focus on the results, because you got to prove to people that this works for them to listen to you. Yeah. And then focus on how to get that message out there. Again, find what you're good at. But also, if it does not bring you joy, that is not going to be the thing to chase. Yeah. Find your niche, what you love that you are good at. Yeah. That you are good, because I'm not good at everything I do in the classroom.
No, yeah.
So find what you are good at that can benefit others. Be passionate about that, and then you got to pursue it. Yeah. And when you pursue something, that takes sacrifice. That takes financial sacrifice sometimes. That takes time sacrifice. That takes you reprioritizing your whole life to be able to do that thing. Like, I've had to say no to so many things that I would really like to do because I have to continue to prioritize my purpose and what I'm pursuing. Yeah. Because if not, I'm not going to get the results. So I don't know that was the answer that they probably wanted to hear.
They probably wanted some instant gratification, and it's not there.
We're your best friends who tell you what you actually don't want to hear, because don't always have a best friend in your corner that tells you everything you do want to hear, because I guarantee that's not accurate information. But also our friendship, like, find someone who can at least be accountability partner, or that can be a cheerleader for you, or that
bounce
understands
ideas like that you can bounce off ideas off of.
Because my gosh, I mean, we have a text thread that just never stops. No. But anytime something is frustrating to me, I take that to Amy, and then she can empathize with that. Yeah. I think if you don't know anyone in the industry that you're looking to create a hustle in, it's going to be really challenging, because you're going to think, well, this isn't taking, you need someone in your corner that says, it's not going to take off right now. Yeah. You got to keep going. It took me this long, or I'm seeing the same thing. Like, I think that's been so really powerful for us. And fortunately, we've been surrounded by an amazing community throughout, you know, but we've also had to build that community. Yeah. Like, that didn't happen.
Exist. Yeah.
You know, you have to pour into others for them to want to pour into you. Yeah. Like, there's so many pieces. And I think that just goes to show, like, this is year 17 for me. Yeah, that I've been pursuing this.
Pursue education in general.
I mean, just like, education. Yeah. When you started making resources, because that's when it started. When you started making resources in your classroom.
So long ago.
And so that's
before kids. That was before everything. That's crazy.
Which is but that's what I want people to have.
Yeah. It was
when they say, I want to have a conference like Get Your Teach On. Amazing. Let's rewind 17 years. Yeah. Because that's where, so don't anticipate having that outcome for another 10 plus years. Yeah. So I think also setting sustainable and realistic goals too, for yourself. You know, even back in the old days, if I had a one person download my project, if I had, that was like, you know, the most exciting thing to me ever. Yeah. So celebrate the small success.
Yeah, I do think you have to hang on to that teacher that says what you did, whatever it was, what you did helped me. And you have to hold on to that, because you are going to go through times of you don't hear that. I mean, there's been sometimes years where I feel like I don't hear it, you know, but I keep going on, keep pressing forward. And then, like, I was at the Get Your Teach On conference, and I had teachers tell me that they used my resources for their interview, like model lesson. And I think that just made me think, that's why I do it.
I've actually never really shared this information.
Yeah, I don't talk about it a lot either, especially sometimes with other sellers and things like that.
But people not in the realm, people in the sphere. But but not outside. I mean, we want you to be successful. I think all teachers, again, I wish teachers got paid more so this didn't even have to be a conversation. But also there needs to be great teacher resources out there and teachers who are promoting the good in the profession and doing good things. So we are championing you and cheerleading you along the way.
There's room for everyone. It's a
room
big,
for everyone.
There's lots of teachers out there.
Everyone. I'm like, there are so many conferences, and I know that people probably think, oh, well, get your teach on. No, go do your conference, do your thing. Just make it unique to you.
Yeah.
Because if you're copying and replicating something something's already out there, it's not going to work out well for you. That's why you got to find your niche, find your passion, something that is unique to you. Because if it's already out there, they don't need it again. Right. So, but that doesn't mean that what your version of it isn't out there. Right. So, again, pursue it, go for it, because there is truly room for everyone in the space. Yeah. And if you're willing to put in the work, then you deserve to.
Lots of work.
It's a lot of work. Hope you don't want to sleep ever again. Okay. And then when you have kids, that's a whole nother side of it. But anyways, well, thank you for sharing that with us here. Hopefully that was helpful, because that was a question that I've gotten through. I'm sure you've gotten it through the years too.
Oh, always. Yeah.
We get it in DMs and we get it in messages, and it's not something
How do
you
I
share
get
on
started?
Instagram. Yeah. But I did want to create a space that has that conversation, because I do think it's an important one. So give it up for Amy Lemons on the Flip Side podcast. Now, you've been here before, so you know the drill. Yes. We're going to close this out and send you off for the week. Hopefully this was beneficial to you. If this was something you've been looking to have as an answer, and if you miss Boomy, you should just get on YouTube and see her, because it literally will bring you all the joy that you need for the day. All right, you guys. Thank you for joining this week's episode. We'll see you back next week for another brand new episode on the Flip Side. Have an amazing week. Until then, we'll catch you on the Flip Side. Bye, everybody.
All right, you guys. That is a wrap on season 3 of the Flip Side. We had the best time this season getting to interview some of our favorite people, along with some incredible educators who shared tips and tricks for the classroom. So thank you so much for tuning in every single week, for sharing your stories, for asking us questions, and for growing with us this season. As always, your support means so much to all of us here at the Flip Side. We never take it lightly that we get to interact with all of you incredible humans, even through a podcast. And every conversation has reminded us just how powerful this teaching community truly is, especially when we all come together. So don't worry, we're not done, because season 4 is going to kick off in January. And you guys, we've got even more incredible guests. We cannot wait that we will be interviewing, along with more classroom tips, tricks, practices, fresh topics, and you know how we like to do it, probably a few surprises even coming your way. So until then, take care of yourselves, take care of one another, keep showing up, happy holidays, and we'll catch you on the Flip Side.